Hello, lovely people, and welcome to Philanthropic February, day 22. I'm Nicola, this is Stitches and Slapdashery, and we've just got back from a really nice long walk and a cup of tea at our favourite tea shop. I did get some footage of the walk, so I'm going to probably pop a few clips in somewhere in the middle of this video in between activities. So yes, we came back. It was after 2 and we got a bit ravenous while we were out, so we had to have some lunch and get myself a cup of tea, of course, in one of my favourite mugs. And now I'm down here in one of my favourite places to make some more progress on things. There's going to be some more slow stitching on the scrappy piece of fabric that I put together the last couple of days. And there's going to be a little bit of knitting progress too. While I was drinking my amazing chocolate chai this morning at the tea shop, I finished the ribbing on the Melt the ICE Toque. That's a bit of a mouthful. And I did a couple of rounds of knit, a round of purl, and then a couple of rounds of knit. So I'm right where I want to be to put in the Morse code. So it's going to be the knits and purls to spell out a couple of words in Morse code. I was going to do resistance, but it only took up about just over half of the stitches in the round. And I was trying to think of something else I could put there. And in the end, I've gone for resist tyranny because it takes up about 84 stitches instead. And so that is the next thing. Seeing as we're talking about that, let's show it to you now. So while I was at the tea shop, I was doodling away. And this along the bottom is what, I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of glary, isn't it, on the white paper? But along the bottom here, I've got the knits and purls planned for my resist tyranny blurb. And this is my 6 inches of ribbing, followed by a little bit of knitting and purling up here. So there's just going to be a pretty narrow band there before I just do a little bit more plain stockinette. I think the pattern says to do 5.5 inches from the bottom of the hat. And if you have a fold like I do, you measure it from the fold. So once I've done my little bit of a Morse code thing, I'll measure it and see how much more I need to add. My friend did say that she would have liked hers to have been a bit deeper, so she could pull it down a little further on her head before doing the decreases for the point. So I'll have to keep that in mind. Maybe trying it on. Try it on while it's still on the needles, and make sure that it fits the way I want. It's going to be a fairly relaxed fit, I think, because my tension was not that tight, because my ribbing, you know, it's half purl, half knit, and so my pearls are kind of loose, and the ribbing doesn't always come out quite as snug as you want it, but it'll be fine. I must make sure to drink this tea before it gets cold. It was sitting and brewing for a really long time because I was dealing with the dishwasher and I got carried away. I got to show you a couple of things that probably make you laugh. So, you know what it's like to be a crafter. I'm sure you know what it's like to be a crafter, and you see the potential in a lot of things. Well, I was taking apart an old calendar, and it's the kind of wall calendar you get. You know, there's a picture at the top and the calendar pages, like the squares for writing in at the bottom, and it's on a spiral binding. So I took this thing apart and I recycled all the paper. I thought about using it for something, but I decided against it. But I do have this little bit of wire here from the hanging part, and I also have the bits of flexible wire from the spiral binding. I did end up stretching it out a little bit, but that's fine. And what I would like to do is maybe take one of my pieces of block printed paper, maybe, or something similar to that. Perhaps make some either butterflies or flowers and put them on the end of one of these bits of wire. I think I could probably make a couple of long stems out of this piece, or maybe 3 smaller ones. If I cut these into maybe 3 each, then I could make a little bouquet of something. So I couldn't bear to throw those out. So that's waiting for another craft. And then the other thing was, because we were walking by a creek today and there were lots of trees around, I was keeping my eyes peeled for a nice forked stick, because I've seen somebody online weaving in the fork of a stick. So what did I bring home? A really big fork stick. This was way, way longer than this when I picked it up, but I had to I had broke pieces off this end and broke a piece off this end and took a couple of little spiky bits off. So there's a lot of room there for potentially doing some sort of weaving with yarn or fabric or something. Not sure when that's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to playing with that. I think that's pretty much it on the non-slow stitching front. So what I'm going to do now is decide what colour of thread I want to use next. These round pink circles, I think I'd like to turn them into some sort of flower and maybe put something in the centre and also around the outside. Oh, I just noticed something. I just noticed a mistake. Well, it's kind of a mistake. You see that leaf there? It got itself tucked behind that piece of green fabric. And I've sewn it down. Oh well. We can just change the narrative on that and decide that, yeah, I meant to do that. Totally meant to do that. And we'll just leave it as it is. It looks fine. Oh, and I did the same with this pink circle too. And you see this pink circle? It's tucked under the green. Now, I'm not sure if I can... No, I can't. I can't pull it out from there. But that's okay. I can work with that. Just starting out on a walk by the creek. We're just under the overpass here. There's a road that goes above our heads. And it's really icy. We have had a week of sub-zero temperatures, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. The water level's really low. In the next couple of months, this is going to be full from the spring melt, even though we haven't had anywhere near the amount of snow we should have done to fill the lake for the year. The creeks should still be pretty full by April, May. Not much sign of life on the creek except for the mallards. A few horses hanging out in the field. I'm going to do the overhead today rather than stick the camera between me and the work. Let's just review some of these beautiful colours. figure out what we're doing next. Oh, I need my little scissors. Where are they? So you'll see me using these loops and threads little embroidery scissors with the curved blades. Please don't consider that an endorsement, because they are kind of cheaply made, and I don't recommend them. Having said that, let's get on. What color can I use? I think I'd like to use a light green, maybe to outline the leaves, or do some, what's the word? Blanket stitch. Why do I always stumble over the word blanket stitch? That one. Now, I'm not going to be Mrs. Patient today. I'm not going to take the strands out individually. I'm just going to split it into 3 the quick way. Okay, let's tackle the first leaf. This one here. Can you see that? Yep, good. I love the way blanket stitch looks. Sometimes, though, I get a little fed up with it if it's a lot of it at once. But these are small pieces, so that's all right. I was going around the whole edge of this piece in blanket stitch then. I think that would be a bit much. I didn't put that in the best place. I don't like that. To undo that one and do it again, so that the 2 leaves at the stitches at the tip of the leaf don't look completely different lengths. Quite like the way that looks. That's the first leaf done. I think I'm going to do that with all of the leaves that I have on here. Same colour, outline them all, and then I'll move on to the next thing. My leaves are all blanket stitched now. Not particularly tidily, but they are blanket stitched. And now I'm going to add some light pink to my dots. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them all today because there are, I think, 11 of them, but I'm going to make a start. What I thought I might do is just do straight stitches coming out from, say, here and then out in different lengths. I'm just going to start and see how it looks. I think it would look better if I do short and long. Maybe I'll do long stitches around and then put the shorter ones in between. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I was looking out for signs of life on my walk today. There really wasn't a lot going on. Canada geese flying overhead, horses in nearby field, and lots of ducks on the creek. A couple of whom were standing on one leg because presumably they were trying to keep one of their feet warm while the other one froze on the ice. They were looking very plump. I'm sure they've got a good winter layer in there. My long stitch is done, so I think if I now go ahead and put some shorter ones in there, that'll look okay. A nice thing about slow stitching is there really aren't any rules. You can do what you like, where you like, when you like. The only person you have to please is yourself. And if you really hate something, you can always unpick it again and redo it. When you're playing with colourful scraps and colourful flosses or crochet cotton or whatever you're using to embroider with, the process is what's important and that you're enjoying it. I did wonder if I was going to put some buttons on this afterwards, but I'm going to have to be careful with that because I don't want the buttons to land where any folds are. So I have to I have to remember that if this is going to be folded like this, I don't want the buttons to be right on the edge. So what I might end up doing is either not putting any on or waiting till the construction is done and then deciding whether that's something I want to add in at the end. Oh, I didn't do that very well. Yeah, I like that. When I finish this second one, I'm going to switch off the camera because I need to go and look at how many of you have entered the giveaway. And I need to write down your names and throw them into a random picker of some kind. See who's won the earring giveaway. And then I'll come back and add that in at the end of this video. See if I can eke it out to the end. I've got one more stitch to do. I have been stretching out the last little bit of tail in a few of these places. Oh, I made it. Look at that. Oop. And then you've got to try and tie a knot. I don't know if you'd call it tie a knot, but finish off the end of the thread with the tiniest bit of embroidery thread. That's the first two pink dots done. I'm going to just put my needle in right here, ready for the next one, and go off and get the names for the giveaway draw. I'm going to leave the slow stitching aside for now because I like to get upstairs and get a bit more knitting done. I'm kind of excited to see how that Morse code works out. I have done the draw for the giveaway. With so few of you entering, everyone had a really big chance to win, but unfortunately there can only be one winner. I gave each of you a number and I went to some random generator thing on the interwebs. And it chose the number belonging to Mandy Bridger. So you are the winner. I will reply to the comment on your day 7 post on my video. And hopefully you will see this and hear this soon. And you can give me an email, stitchesandslapdashery@gmail.com, and let me know your address so that I can get those sent to you really soon. I haven't made them yet, but I will be imminently. So thanks everyone for your feedback and comments and presents. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you again tomorrow with some more fun crafting stuff. Bye for now.